once again.
So we've been nibbling around the edges of one thing, it seems to me, in our talk. There's been little facets of the different joys that have come through the ministry, but particularly through doxology. And I'd love to hear you talk more about that. What joys do you have because of doxology through it?
Well, it's a topic near and dear to my heart. I'm just sorry that Beverly Yankee isn't here, because I think it would be wonderful to have both perspectives on that particular question. But I'll just give you a heads up. Bev being who she is and me being who I am, we both have kind of, over the years, had a standard response. We're going on, approaching the 10th year of operation now. And she's always shocked at how well things have gone. And I'm always pleased. And there is a commonality there, that we both rejoice to see what's happening. And maybe just kind of anticipation in terms of the different reactions. But yeah, so when we first started, like 20 years ago, just conceptually thinking in these areas of, at that point it was, how can we assist practicing parish pastors to sharpen their mindset regarding how they would intelligently intersect between the longer heritage of care of souls versus some more contemporary insights of Christian psychology, and how do those go together? If there are points of disagreement or rub, so to speak, where are they, and how can psychology assist us as pastors? So as we started talking about that, it was for the benefit of those pastors who were actively engaged in ministry at that time. At the point then when we got the task force together, then we did some further research, and then we began to explore other dimensions, and that's when we got into the area of continuing education and advanced skills. So what's been very gratifying to me is on several levels, hard to enumerate them right now, but I'll enumerate them as I go. I think the first one would be in terms of awareness, in terms of in-depth grasping of the pastoral vocation and identity, as you put it, Tim. So that increasingly now scores of pastors, and at this point now we're, in 2017, we've had well over 600 pastors been exposed to this, and to varying degrees have embraced what they've heard and found. But to be more confident in their own ministry, to be more content and engaged, I think, along the lines of what we were talking about earlier, so that they're not just going through the motions. And when they do see that happening, they know what to do about it. So that's a basic skill. I think that's helpful and very gratifying. But then beyond that, in terms of their own well-being, both emotionally and spiritually speaking, we've had innumerable situations where men have come through the program and for the first time kind of took an honest look and said, maybe these things are areas that need some addressing. So if I'm suffering emotionally, maybe I need to get some assistance with that. If I'm suffering spiritually, maybe I need to get some pastoral care. And so there's been many men who have been very much helped with that. You gentlemen probably have heard a few of these stories, and they're not stories, they're true incidents where men have told us, quite literally, "You've saved my ministry." Well, we would expect that. "You've saved my marriage," which is deeply gratifying, but then what's very humbling is "You've saved my life." So when a guy is that depleted and that despairing, it's heartening to, and we know the tragic stories that are out there. And so to offer a lifeline, is wonderful, and yet at the same time, and that's, I think, one of the things we've been trying to do continually is to say, we're not just for pastors who are at the end of the rope. The primary thrust is to build advanced skills that you can use in active ministry in full stride. You know, when things are going wonderful, here's some tools that are very useful for you. I remember hearing somebody said, as doxology gains a reputation and a good reputation around the church, a man said, "Oh, I'd sure like to come to doxology, but I'm not bad enough yet."
Yeah, you are.
Well, that's as true, if we were honest, I suppose. It's a continual process, but that thrust on gaining advanced skills for ministry is in the forefront.
But when you were kind of crafting doxology, the curriculum at the beginning, and thought, hey, this is going to be the most helpful thing, and this will be also helpful, and then as you've seen guys can interact with the stuff, did that meet your expectations, or were there surprises?
Well, I guess it's like anything else, and you know that as a preacher, you know, some of the really gems that you fling out there on a Sunday morning end up as duds, and yet at the same time, kind of throwaway lines are grabbed hold of, and people say, that's a wonderful thing. So you can never tell how things are going to be received, and so I guess there's an element of surprise all along. So what individuals find helpful varies from person to person, that's what we found. And yet I think there's kind of a core in terms of the definition kinds of things, in terms of what is the classical care of souls, that's kind of at the core of things. How is this cultivated? But then other things having to do with the pastor's devotional life. It's all important, and we've had some that said, whatever you do, don't change a thing. It's probably unrealistic, but by God's grace, we've been able to put together some useful things. That's great. I guess I'll turn the tables. I'll ask you guys. You know, you've been at this now as a collegian for, this is what, the third season now? And to be involved at this level and what we've been able to do collectively, and what this means for you individually, what have you discovered? Don't all speak at once.
My comment a while ago this morning was about saying we instead of you, and at the San Antonio event last August, and you were there, just the three of us were there, and we were also involved in doing some of the presenting in the sessions, and the feedback was, that I heard from a few people was, thank you, and you heard plural in that, it wasn't thank you, Mark, or
Y'all.
Tyler, yeah, y'all, all y'all. But it was, they were beginning to perceive, either for the first time, or maybe that was just their first experience in the cohort, in the curriculum, and said, oh, this is what doxology looks like. It's not just Hal and Bev.
Yeah.
So, and it was gratifying, and it was humbling at the same time, that we have become part of this. We as the collegiate have become part of how doxology is presented and perceived in the church. Even your visit to us at Crown of Life, things that I thought I had said to people heard from you a little differently about what is happening through this fellowship. And I guess maybe I've been a little bit reticent to talk about it because it sounds as though I'm tooting my own horn within the congregation. But people went, oh, that sounds really good. So is that a surprise, or is that a shock, or is that being pleased? Maybe all of the above, but that you have allowed us, and you have trusted us, and not been threatened by other voices and other writing, and not say, no, that's not the doxology brand. The doxology brand is Hal and Bev, and to me that that is a great tribute to you as our father and our brother, that you have allowed us that opportunity and welcomed it and encouraged it.
Right, that's the goal, certainly.
I think a joyful surprise for me is, obviously, practice is determined by doctrine. You know, as somebody said, we have the Lord's Supper during church, we don't have seances because of what our doctrine teaches us. And between the emphasis on knowledge and education at the seminary, and then competing models of ministry out there, I kind of wandered around as a pastor thinking the practice of the ministry just rubs a little bit against the doctrine. It's not quite right. What I do is not quite the same as what we teach. And the great relief for me in doxology was that what we are learning here to hone our skills actually aligns the holy ministry with what we teach, with what we find in Scripture and confessions. You know, Eugene Peterson talks, I think, about a contemplative pastor. Maybe we were meeting with him in Kalispell, where he was taught to be pastor and said, you know, but it shouldn't be like that. And so his goal in writing these books was to regain a sense of the holy ministry, and that's been a great comfort for me in doxology, is that it makes me say, this is what a pastor is supposed to be, and this is how the practice comes about. Refocuses, yeah.
One of the things that was particularly, well, I guess it was something that took me back is something to build on what Mark was saying. The fingers of doxology continue to spread with the opportunities that the collegium has, bringing pastoral care to pastors and their families. This is something that could not happen just with Halsey, Weil, and Bebianchi.
Right.
The collegium is very important in that way. One of the times that the rubber hit the road for me was when one of the pastors that I was ministering to at a gathering event during the grand reunion, his wife came up to him and said, "Which one of these men should be my pastor?" And this